Okay, welcome. Daf Yud Ches, um, Shalmi Bava Kama. This is one of those daf, a typical Yerushalmi daf. We're going to have to perform some surgery to help of Chen Kanievsky, Pnei Moshe, a little bit of the art scroll. Um, okay, let's get into it. So it's on the bottom of Daf Yud Zayin of base. Amr Ablah. That's Rabbi Elo in the Yerushalmi. B'chol atat machmir be'evid yosem min hakol. In all cases, you're more machmir never than anyone else. Why? Shafilu mukashchin nois and shloshim sela. Even a mukashchin, right? If an eved is gored by a shar and he's killed by the shar, even if he was a mukashchin, he's basically worthless. He has to give 30 sela, right? Mashenkin, another human being, we wouldn't do that. If it's a non-eved, he would get evaluated much less if he was a mukashchin. So Yisrael, and here's the first surgery. Yisrael, af b'shor tam kain, that even in a short tam should be mechuyev to pay. No, it's even a tam. Forget about right. Not only more, but even a tam. Since we're more machmir by but even a tam should have to pay. So tam aloy mobalasho noki midemei eved. He doesn't have to pay demei eved. Again, here's a different girsa. Now we skip down about 6 lines down, and we go to Tanya Chayrin Tani. There's another Tana that learned. Last starts the last word on the line. Tanya Chayrin Tani. Ubala Shanaki, different Russia. Naki midmei vladais. He's Naki midmei vladas. Again, another change over here. It's Naki midmei vladais. So, Freiti Gemara, Vlesk Vichi Notzu Anoshim V'lo So we already know that. What do I need another drashim for? It says Chinatzu Anoshim the pasuk, right? It says V'nokfi Shahara V'yatzi Yotehav Lo Ya'asan Onish Yonish Kashi Yosef Olav Abala Isha V'nosim Beflilim. Right. So if two women are fighting, if two men are fighting, sorry, and they hit a woman who's pregnant and she loses the baby. So they have to pay. So it says v'chinatzu anoshim. We dash anoshim lo shvarim. So what do I need another pas to balasho noki min mei vlados? I already know that from v'chinatzu anoshim. Amar Reb Chagai kinu masnita anoshim she'em miskavenen chayavim. Shvarim she'em miskavenen peturim. So what I would think is like this. Zok Reb Chagai. I would think like this. Anoshim over there, it's talking about Shemus Gavnin, right? That's the chayv. Even though it was Emenim Gavnin, or the Muad Loilam, so even though Anoshim, we're talking about Shemus Gavnin, it's still chayv. And the equivalent case would be Shvarim Shemus Gavnin, they are Peturim. Hoyu Misgavnis, what can we be medayik? We can be medayik did if they were, I'm sorry, Hoyu Tamim, I apologize, it's the changing gears over here. Hoyu Tamim, but maybe if they were Tamim, I apologize. I have to go back. Okay. Amar Reb Chaka. Kina masnita noshim shein shehimu od chayavim. Like we said, Adam is muad la'olam. So anoshim shehimu odim chayavim. Shvarim shehimu odin are peturim. That the equivalent case by shvarim are pater. Hamahoyu tamid. But let's say the shvarim tamid. Maybe I would think you chayavim. So therefore, I need a pasuk. Tamad lem v'asher naki midmei v'ladais. That is that naki that we're naki midmei v'ladais. Okay, so it shows you why you had to say v'asher naki. That's why we needed a drush. Fine. Now you go back up to 3 lines down where we skipped before. B'cholat the Gemara now again. Straight to Gemara again. B'cholatat machmir b'muad mitaham. Someone says, I don't understand something. Your whole drasha, right? Normally, okay, well, we'll get to Gasha in a second. B'cholatat machmir b'muad mitaham, right? Normally, we're more machmir by muad than we are tam. But v'hacha suddenly over here at machmir tam yosemud over here we machmir and tam than the mud. Why? Because we said you would think v'nak v'isha hara right from the pasuk you know it's no Hashem. You would think that shvarm that are muadim they are pata, but tam is chayv. Why would tam be chayv? We're more machmir normally by muad. So why would I think that tam? Why would I be more normally more machmir muad? Why would I think suddenly we're more machmir by tam? Elokine, zog die Gemara, Kina Noshe, she'enun miskavnen. Chayavin, and the equivalent case would be Shvom Shemus Gavanim are Peturim. So this is the way you have to learn. Not Shem Mu'atim. We're talking about over here Noshim Shemus Gavanim, right? That's over here. Tchinot Noshim. Two men are fighting, and they happened to. They weren't aiming for the woman. They happened to hit her. They're Chayav. The equivalent case by Shvarim, where again Shemus Gavanim, they would be Peturim. Ham Hoy Misgavanim. You would think. If the Shar aimed for the woman, maybe she was holding a red cloth or something. So maybe you chayavin, right? So Talmud loyma bal shanoki noki midimei v'ladais. That no, that even if the shor is mechav, so nothing to do with the tam or mur. The question is, was the shor aiming for the woman or not? So saying that you would think maybe only if the shor doesn't aim for the woman, then the potter. But maybe if the shor aims for the woman, then they be chayiv. So I say no. Now bal shanoki noki midimei v'ladais. And now we have to go back down to where, okay, to Velesk Siv, we go down about 7 lines. Middle of the line says Velesk Siv. Right, you understand. Velesk Siv, v'chinatzo chirivon, v'loi himatzos hi meriv. It's the same thing. Imal halam ben iskavim, av kam iskavim, ma kam shem iskavim, fam shem iskavim. Freit about on your diak. It's very nice. You attempted to explain to me that we're telling you, even in a case where the shor is bechavin, that you potter. That's what Baal Naki comes to teach me. Freit Gemara. Very nice, but why would I think it's different? Why would I think it's different? You even a matzos meriva the same thing, right? Two different words describing the same thing. The two different words, since being that that's the case, whatever applies by one applies by the other, and vice versa. So why would I think chinotzu means dafka mechavin? Right? The chirivon is a case referring to a case where it's not mechavin. They're both the same thing. So if it's the same thing, again, what do I need the pasuk of Alashonaki for? So on this, my kedon, Gemara says, "Taka, well, what do we need the pasuk for?" Gemara says, "Kedemar Reb Shmuel bar Rav Yitzchak betchila eina medaber elo betam." The pasuk now, right? Originally, the pasuk when the pasuk discusses shor, so it's talking about a tam. Hechser samud lekaifa and hechser shneim lenizakin. Right, so when we talk about a tam originally, the tam, generally speaking, when we're talking about the tam is chatzi nezek, or in some cases pata from kaifa. So then we say hechsis amuad. Then the pasuk comes and starts discussing a muad. Then and it's maksed mud lekaifa. The mud is mechayiv to pay is mechayiv to pay kaifa. Hechsis shneim lenizakim, and then in certain cases a tam and a mud are both chayiv to pay for certain damages. So yachol, I would think. Shem shu machzin nizakin. The same way we're machzir the tam to pay nizakim as well together with the muad. Obviously, there's differences in what they would pay, but we're machzir both mechuyev to some extent in nizakin. Kachu machzir l'tmei. So maybe also if you're mazik the avid, in other words, you don't kill the avid, you injure the avid, maybe you have to pay. Tamaloy balashon naki midvei avid completely. So that's what you need a pasuk for. Okay, Freit Gemara now, how do you know that you pay for the right? If he injures an eved that you have to pay, and it says vim eved. So vim eved, and it starts in the right. So the pasuk goes like this: the next pasuk reads im eved yigach ashor or el makes shosh mishkalm. So the im, it's like there's a vav over there. There's obviously no vav there. There's no vav there, but it's one continuous flow. So therefore, an eved is going back on the injury from the pasuk before. And again, it doesn't say ve'im. So the Marafulda brings down that there's a difference between the vav, maybe to me it sounds like he was saying that there might in some Sefer Torah have a vav. There's a difference between Bnei Mizrach and Bnei Ma'ariv in terms of a Sefer Torah, but I think we can say it easily that we understand that there's no vav there. Just like we said, it flows im eved. No, it's a continue. So we're going with the same topic. You don't need a vav there. Okay. That you can never pay more if there's an eved that's injured. You never pay more than 30 shekel. Right, because that's if you kill the Eved to pay 30 shekel, you're not going to pay more than that if you injure the Eved. The other one says, Masham loy kol niskei. No, by Menazak and Lechnei, more machmir. then by death, and you would have to pay whatever the damage is. Okay. Zok Telu Mishnah Halacha Vav. Shor shoy mischakech b'kaisel shor is scratching himself on a wall. This is mamish like out of a cartoon. V'nafal al adam, and unfortunately it fell on an adam. Mace in some girsais. Niskaven harigas behemo of the shore was aiming for behemo harigas instead of adam. Lenachri, or he was aiming for a guy, as you saw, and instead he killed a girl in the fallen. He was aiming for a nefel, v'harigan kayama. In all these cases, pata. Zotik Moshe Shahaya Mischakich because it's more of a ish Kiaka Kol Nefesh Adam Lahavi Samaka Yesh Boy Kidei Yesh Boy Kidei Lahamas Tani Tani Ein Boy Kidei Lahamas. So it says in the pasuk like this. It says V'ish Kiaka Kol Nefesh Adam Mois Yumas. So Api Pashtas Vishkiaka Nefesh Adam Lahavi Esamaka Vyesh Boy Kidei Lahamas obviously means I go and punch a guy in the face with strong enough force to kill him. Der mais Yumas. Having Chud Misa. Tani Tani, even ein by Kedei Lahamis. Aber Ablov, I feel yesh by Kedei Lahamis, vo acha vehemis, hamemis chav. Let's say I went and I went and I gave a guy a punch. It was Kedei Lahamis, but I didn't kill him. And instead, some other guy came, right, and he finished him off. The memis is chav, not the original puncher. Behemis ish isha. So the pasuk is this is quoting the pasuk in Shemais. V'im shor nagachum mitmal shilshem v'hu abevalav lo yishmerenu. Behemis isha isha. Asher yisak v'gam olav yumas. So it says behemis isha isha ma ish moirish nizakav labanov. Right, the damage has to be paid to his children. Af isha mershis nizakeh live on to her children. Fake matter understand. Ve'en abal yoshis ishtoi. Right, if there's a husband here, shouldn't the husband yarshin his wife, Amr Shlokish, Karpish Rishai via Mishnah, Rishai was da via Mishnah. He was bekoife shalach hamisa shon. We're talking about the koife that's paid lach hamisa. So since it's after the death, and the isha is not by definition she's not zeichen the koife while she's alive, so it's considered to be roy and ain't about yorish beroy kibbutz so it's mafulda. Fine. Tani we learned. Hamoichin over here also going to be some Girsas changes. Tony will learn to Shal Rabeirav and it's an Akron and someone sells Shah to his friend. Turns out this Shah is a threat to society, is an Akron. So Rav Mekartoisu, Shmulama, Yacholu Memele, you can say to him, Shchita Mechata B'chos. Rav says, okay, it's a Mekartois. I don't want to buy a Shah, it's an Akron. Shmul can say, what do you mean? I thought you're planning to shecht it. Okay, now. V'nosam Pidyon Afshay, this famous machlokes in Bavli too, V'nosam Pidyon Afshay. Says Tani, what is nafshay? Who's giving the opinion of who's nefesh? Is Tani nefesh mazik, the one who did the destruction? It's like a form of kaparafim. Is Tani nefesh nizik, the victim? Okay, now here comes the surgery. Man da'amar nefesh mazik. So it goes like this. Man da'amar nefesh mazik. It's going on the mazik. So Yiko Arisha in Hakois Misas. Let's say the first shark comes around and gives him a clap, gives the guy a clap enough for Misa. But however, he didn't kill him. Ova Sheni Vilbalai, the next shark comes and kind of finishes him off. Even again, it doesn't mean with the Makas Misa, just finishes him off. He gives him maybe a tap, but that's all it took to kill the guy. So in Tamer, if you're going to say Yesh Nizikin Bekuloi, if you're going to say Yesh Nizakin Bekuloi, so in other words, that even if there's Misa, so now there's Machlokes, if when there's Misa, do we also shats up the injuries? Or do we say that the injuries are subsumed in the Misa? In other words, once there's Misa, we don't look at the injuries anymore because the guy is dead. So now, if you say in Tem Yesh Nizakin Bekuloi, that even in the case of death, will still shut up what was the damage over here, what were the injuries. So Risha Noisein this guy. So, because what happened was over here again, the case was where a guy came and gave him such a zetz, right? The shark came, I'm sorry, not the guy, the shark came and gave him a zetz, and however, didn't kill him. So he caused injury. So he shots up what was the injury that caused. Shani Nois and Kafra, the second was one that killed him. So he has to pay, the owner of the second shah has to pay the kafir. In Tamer, ein izakin biku. However, if you say only where there's no Misa do we say there's Nizakin. Otherwise, if there's Misa, it's subsumed in the Misa. So then that's the case. Hasheni nice and kaifer. That's how you have to read it over here. Hasheni is the one who's nice and kaifer, right? Because the Shane is the one that killed him. Varishain is Pata, because he only caused Nezik. We don't shatz up Nezik in a case of Misa. And since over here the guy ultimately died, so we don't shatz up the injuries, and therefore the Shani is the one who's nice and kaifer, and the Rishon is Pata. Now, command the ma pidyon nafsho shel nizik. If you say we go based off of the nizik, right? The victim over here. So in Temiyesh Nizak and Bikuloi that we always estimate what the damage was, even in a case of death. So Rishain Noisin Nizkai. So the Rishon who caused the damage, like before, right? The same case. So the Shah came along, first Shah came and injured the guy, and the second Shah finished him off. So Rishon Noisin this guy, like we said earlier. Basheni Potter. The second guy is Potter. Why? Because we shots up based off of the Nizik, not like in the first case where it's based off the Mazik. It's based off the Mazik. We don't care what the value of the Nizik is. But in this case, since we estimate based on the Nizik, and when the first shore came and gored this unfortunate soul, he put his gored him within an inch of his life. So the guy didn't have much value. So the Sheni is Potter because there was no, right? The guy was already, the guy, right? He has no value anymore. So therefore, the second show is potter. In time, if you're going to tell me, ain't izakim because if you say that no, that with his death, right, we don't estimate what the injury was. In that case, shnei and peturim. They're both potter. Why are they both potter? They're both potter because the first guy didn't kill him, and again, we don't estimate damage, so he gets off the hook. The second guy came along and he killed almost a dead man, so the person had no value, and therefore, shneiim peturim.